as doves. Beware of them, for they will hand you over to the councils and flog you in the synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors and kings because of me as a testimony to them and the Gentiles. When they hand you over, do not worry about what you are to speak or what you are to say, for what you are to say will be given to you at that time. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of God who speaks through you. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death, and you will be hated by all because of my name. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you in one town, flee to another. For truly I tell you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Here ends the gospel for the day. Please be seated. Last Friday, I drove into the Savings and Loan Association to make a car payment. And as I drove in there, one of the things that I noticed on the sign was telling me, that the most important thing, the number one priority at that Savings and Loan was the health of their employees. And that's why we had to go through the drive-in. I guess most people do that, but I never do that. I like to go in and do all the transactions in person, talking to another person. That's just what I like to do. But I said, this is a lie. Their number one priority is not the health of their employees. That is not what they exist for. Yes, it's to take care of their employees, yes, because they are part of their, even though they're nonprofit, their profit status. And it is well to do so, but if they're really concerned about their employees, they would have kept the doors open, because I think they eliminated 3 employee spots, just keeping it outside. One is the security person on the inside. Then I was listening on television and watching Tyson do their ads. Tyson, who runs a pork plant in Iowa, near where I live, and in South Dakota they run a chicken plant, meat packing plant, and they started out their advertisement by, our employees' health is our number one priority. We want them to be safe. The safety of our employees is just all we think about. It's a lie. That's not Tyson's main motive for existing. As a matter of fact, Tyson did nothing about the infestation of the disease when it first showed up in their plants. They forced people to come to work when they were sick. As I look at ads and I look at signs outside of buildings of business, they all say the same thing. The health of our employees. The safety of our employees is our number one priority. I'm not saying that they don't try to take care of their employees, because it's all a part of their business. It's essential to them. When an employee doesn't fulfill their needs, they let them go. They get rid of them. But the word is be safe. That seems to be the word that is so important now. Everything is centered around these 2 words, be safe. So for people my age, they say, if you really want to be safe, stay at home. Stay away from people. For me, that just really isn't where life is. To stay at home and to stay away from people. That's not where I want to be in life. When I was in college, our college president told about an incident he had when he was raising money for a particular building, a new building for the school. And he said he called one of his wealthy contributors, a classmate of his who had graduated from the same college, invited him down to see the new project. He came down and he showed him all the plans, showed him the spot where you're going to build, and his friend, after all this time that he spent with him, said, "Okay, what do you want me to contribute?" The president told him, "Well, I think you could contribute this much." And he said, "Are you kidding?" And he said the sum again, and he said, "Well, I don't think I can do that much. I've got to live too, you know." And the president said, "What for?" What for? Now, don't worry, this is not a stewardship sermon. It's coming. But it's an interesting question. Because the other day when somebody said, "Well, be safe," I said, "What for? What's the purpose of being safe?" I'm not sure that's the most important thing in my life. As a matter of fact, I know it isn't. And I don't think it should be yours either. Well, that led into an interesting conversation. Be safe. Be safe. Why? What for? In our attempt to be safe, oh, wait a minute. I have to make a disclosure here, or something to that effect. I am not suggesting that we not take proper precautions for proper hygiene. I am not against masks. I am not against safe distancing. I am not afraid of covering up your cough. I'm not against any of those things. But I am concerned that being safe is the most important thing in life. Well, we have tried to be safe, and what's happened? The economy just about ground to a halt. A lot of people have lost their job, the worst job market since the Depression, worst unemployment records. And it has hit our own congregation. Businesses have closed for good. Huge businesses like Neiman Marcus and Penny's have filed for bankruptcy. Thousands of jobs have been lost. Domestic violence is on the increase, 3 times the number of calls to those social societies to try and protect people. Mental illness is showing itself in even more bizarre ways. Oh, we're safe. We're safe. Is that too high a price to pay for safety? Maybe safety should not be our major concern, nor do I think it is whenever an idea comes up that really means something to us. Can you imagine the commander of the Allied troops going into Normandy, which we just celebrated that day a few days ago? Did the commander say, "Now our main priority in this attack on Normandy is being safe? We are concerned that you might get hit, so stay in the boats and drive around outside the beach until the planes come in and clear enough people off so you can make a safe landing?" No, he said 1/20 of all the people here, of the over 200,000 people, will die, will not be alive tomorrow. Many more will be injured. They will lose a leg, lose an arm, lose an eye, probably suffer for life. Being safe isn't the most important thing. In the immigration movement, Martin Luther King did not say, be safe. Gandhi, when he rebelled against India, against the British rule, did not say the most important thing is to be safe. Can you imagine your football coach saying the most important priority on this football team is the safety of all our players? Oh, we have many safety devices and we are making the game safer, but that's not the priority. It doesn't matter what cause we're following or what activity that we are involved in that is important to us. Be safe is not the watchword. Well, what has that got to do with religion? Well, it just so happens to be that Jesus did not put safety as the major priority of those that follow him. The text today, which I was going to preach on 4 weeks ago, but I saw it was the text for today, has Jesus talking to his apostles as they are going out. Does he say, be safe? If anybody shows any kind of antagonism, just run. Well, he says, move on, but go do somebody else and you might run into the same thing. But he said, you'll have trouble. People will persecute. There will be people that laugh at you. You will not always be safe. That's not the major priority. The major priority in life is to have purpose and meaning. Well, is Christianity that risky today? The likelihood of you being dragged into court for being a Christian now is not big in this country. It is in some countries. In some countries, it's still against the law, and you will be persecuted, and you might be put to death for it. And missionaries, before they go out on the mission field, have to be warned about what they are going to face when they go on the mission field, and they are instructed to fill out a will, just like the military people are before they go into battle. You want to be safe? Well, don't commit to in loving anybody. Loving is a big risk. And eventually, all relationships end. I'm not toxic. I think I need some water. Sorry to send you out. If you want to risk, fall in love. Because it ends either with somebody getting upset and leaving or one of you dying. When somebody walks away, it is the most painful thing really that you can experience in life. But that's the risk in loving. The call to love is not a call to be safe. It's to give yourself totally somebody else and risk the possibility of being rejected or somebody to be hated in a loving stuff. You want to be safe? Then don't go into an occupation of service. Don't be a doctor, a nurse. Don't be a farmer. Farming is one of the most dangerous activities on the face of the earth. Don't be involved in emergency room procedures because the likelihood of you being attacked for trying to help somebody is almost 100%, they tell me. If you want to be safe, don't go into any service that helps people. Sometimes even the clergy don't survive. You want to be safe? Don't rally for justice or peace or civil society, because whatever side you take, you will be opposed. Even though that's what your baptismal vows tell you, if you want to be safe, don't get involved in those things of major importance in life, of giving a stable society in a place where everybody is treated with love and care. You want to be safe? Well, just forget coming to church. I see as far as risk places, they said this morning, church is the second most risky. I don't know how it can be the second most risky. If you want to make the best one, go on a tennis court. That's pretty safe. But maybe you don't like to play tennis. But worship is risking the possibility you might be wrong. Coming to worship is risk wasting time, of being told you are weak, that you really don't have control of your life, that you are involved in participating in an opiate of the people. Jesus said there's no safety in being my apostle. That's not the purpose of your existence. When something important comes up, no matter how important it feels or how unimportant, it still is something that is extremely valuable. I remember, and I usually don't bring up people from the congregation, but I think it's very applicable here. I remember when Larry Olson was in the final stages of life, and his greatest love in life, Alice, was committed to the same hospital, Scott and White, in Round Rock. And she was placed in isolation. But Larry found out that she was there, and he said, "Can you help me see her?" Talked to the nurses. They said, "No way, she's contagious." Said, "Well, Larry doesn't care. I don't think Alice does either." And finally, after some negotiation, after a couple of days, Larry said, "I want to see her." And the nurse says, "Well, you can go to this window and look through the window." He said, "I don't want to look through a window. I want to touch her. I want to feel her. I want to tell her that I love her, and I might not see her again. And it doesn't matter, she's contagious. And you just place me in another isolation room." The nurse and the staff and the administration caved in. And they let them get together and hold hands and say goodbye and say they loved each other. It was not be safe. Because if you would ask either one of them, just be safe, they would say, "Why? What for?" Again, I am not seeing anything against those that practice safety in terms of their health. I think you should follow all the instructions you can. But never make safety the number one priority, because that's not where Jesus is. Amen. The sermon hymn, "There's a Wildness in God's Mercy," 158. Please stand as you are able.